Well, now to Capitol Hill in a bipartisan effort to shed light on unidentified objects in the sky, maybe losing momentum. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is among those pushing to declassify and release government information on UFOs. They're more commonly referred to these days as unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs. But it seems not everyone is backing the effort for greater transparency. Let's bring in correspondent Joe Connell live on Capitol Hill. Joe, exactly what would this amendment to the annual defense bill actually accomplish?
Yeah, Nichole, it's important. I want to start there so our viewers sort of understand what this does. This measure put forward by Chuck Schumer and some Republicans in the Senate essentially would eventually make public all of the government records now classified relating to UFOs or UAPs and, in their words, non-human intelligence. That is what the actual text of that amendment says. And the amendment essentially goes further than any other we've ever seen before. It says here, quote, that all government records concerning UAPs carry a presumption of immediate disclosure, and all records should eventually be disclosed to enable the public to be fully informed. Now, we've also heard testimony from whistleblowers under oath here in Congress and on our network at NewsNation. They have claimed that the government, some agencies, have possession of some crashed UFOs or UAPs, and that some of them are being housed in private contractors' possessions, places like Lockheed Martin. So if that allegation, it's a big one, is true, if it is true, this measure would also essentially make those aircraft property of the U.S. government and subject to Congress. And I'm going to quote again here. It says the government would have eminent domain over any and all recovered technologies of unknown origin and biological evidence of non-human intelligence that may be controlled by private persons or entities. So these measures go further than anything we've seen before in terms of disclosure. Now, today, there is a debate between Senate and House over what version of this bill ends up going forward. And there is, according to some sources we've talked to, an effort to weaken or water down that language. There have been accusations that some people, one of them being Congressman Mike Turner, chairman of the Intelligence Committee here in the House, has been trying to do that. Now, we just moments ago caught up with him. He says that's not the case. I'm going to let you hear in Turner's own words how he describes the situation.
I do think it's a poorly drafted piece of legislation. Also, what I really find interesting about what I call the pro-alien caucus over here in the House, unlike you, not one of them has ever spoken to me about any of these issues. I mean, you and I are speaking. You would think that if this is that important of an issue to them, at least one member of the House who's advancing this cause would actually come up and substantively talk to me about this issue. No one has even raised it. Okay. Perhaps you might want to ask them why they haven't.
So that was what he told us on camera. He ended up walking away after that. We sort of clarified with him. He says he is not the person who is blocking this amendment. He doesn't think it's going to pass. He thinks it's, as you heard him say, poorly written. But he tells me he is not the person who is blocking it. Did acknowledge that there is sort of a back and forth now. So what we end up with, is it going to be as strong of language as what I just read you all at the top of this hit? We're not sure. That is being worked out as we speak. We're continuing to follow it. But that is the first time that we've heard from Mike Turner after some other members of Congress and other sources we've talked to have sort of alleged that he is the person who is trying to weaken that amendment. Nichole.
Yeah, Joe Connell asking those important questions there. Joe, thank you. Well, thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.